All right. Welcome back for the Positive Deposit podcast. I'm your host, Presley Nelson Jr., and I'm so excited today. I have one of my close friends, damn near my sister, Bianca. She's a Howard alum, and I'm just so happy. Yep, HU. Yep. I'm so happy to have her on the show. Here this podcast is where we transform minds to change lives, and we do that by sharing our journey, sharing our walk, and we drop positive deposits at the end to help other cancer patients or survivors push through. And so before we get started, Bianca, would you like to say any words to the audience? Like what anything?
I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy both of us are here.
Yeah.
Real talk. And it's kind of the first time I've discussed my cancer like this.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of, I'm hoping, therapeutic. So,
And I commend you, to have this courageous conversation, because it's not easy, but we're gonna walk through. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a Howard grad, LA native. I'm a mother of a 12-year-old who makes amazing art.
It's dope. It's dope.
What else? I have a master's in public administration, and I currently work for the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I just realized you had a master's. I said, oh, I didn't even know. Excuse me. Master's. I said, okay. Say less.
Eventually gonna aim for that PhD, but right now we're gonna chill with the masters.
I mean, you didn't mention what's Black Like Vanilla?
Black Like Vanilla. That is my brand that promotes Black history, Black news, Black culture, and Black excellence. And so it's at Black Like Vanilla on Instagram, and blacklikevanilla.com is the website.
Yo, you when I tell you, when I see what you're doing with that movement, you capture everything. Just like Howard alumni catches everything, you capture everything, and you don't hold back. And that's what I like about Black Like Vanilla. Like, you keep it like, oh, this is what it is, and whether you like it or not, this is what it is. This is what we're gonna do. And
exactly.
And it's necessary, because a lot of times we don't talk about these things, or people need to know. You see what I'm saying? These certain facts. So, but yeah. So let's jump right into it. 35, February 2018. When were you diagnosed, and at what age were you?
So yeah, I was 35. It was February of 2018. And I want to say it was either a little bit before or right after my daughter's birthday. I was at work, and I just accidentally brushed up against my breast. And I was like, oh, what's that? That's weird. I never had noticed that, and I hadn't really been giving myself exams as often as I think I should have, but it just seemed like it came out of nowhere.
Right.
So I went to the bathroom to just see if I was crazy or not, and I wasn't. And so I immediately called my doctor to figure out what was going on, and they asked for me to get a mammogram. And so when I went to get the mammogram, and I've gotten them before because I've had lumps in my breast when I was younger. So I was like, oh, this must be the same thing. I've done this before. I was real chill when I got the mammogram. I was like, whatever.
Right.
And then they told me they found 3. I was like, what you mean?
Like 3 what? You saying like what?
I don't understand. What do you mean 3? And then I still was just like, all right, I'm not going to trip unless I have to trip.
Right.
And so they did the biopsies, and 2 days later, my doctor called me on April 4th and told me that they came back cancerous.
Ooh.
And
what were you feeling like when, you got that news,
Oh
like,
my God. I absolutely broke. It was like my world just fell apart because, when your doctor calls you at 8:45 in the morning,
yeah,
you know
it's
that
something serious. It's not like no regular call,
good
like,
news. Exactly. So I was in the stairwell because I could feel it. I was in the stairwell and she told me, she's really sweet, Black woman. I really appreciate it. She was actually the physician's assistant, but I liked interacting with her.
yeah,
Um, and I just broke. I broke. I cried for a while in the stairwell, and then I told my boss, and I was like, I have to go.
yeah,
I can't stay
yeah.
here. And so then on my drive home, I didn't even know how to focus, and I called you.
I was about to say, yeah, you called
I
me.
called
Yeah,
you after. I mean, I called my mom, of course,
yeah,
to
of
let her know,
course.
and
Family, yeah, of
whatnot.
course.
But just in the drive, I needed that energy and that experience, and just there was only one person I knew that had gone through
Yeah,
this at such a young age too,
yeah,
and you really helped me get home, like, and you stayed on the phone with me, and you were like, is your mom there? And I was like, yeah. And then
yeah,
we just sat and sobbed for a minute,
yeah,
and then after that I realized, do I want to stay in this space forever, or do I want to still function as if I'm going to live? And so I did go to work the next day.
yeah, yeah. How important was, excuse me, was it just to have someone that could relate, to really talk? And I'm, obviously I know, but like, because when you called me, we chat, what I mean? But to me, I'm glad you called me because, like, that's heavy. That's heavy news. And it's not like taken away from, like, a funeral, but that's heavy news because you wouldn't imagine yourself being told that, what I mean? But how helpful is to have that support? And we're gonna talk about that support later on, but just having that person to, like, say,
Oh, it was a godsend. It really was, because it's one of those situations where you feel really alone, and you're just like, why me? And I'm the one that's going through this. And to be able to speak to someone who was not only in that position but beat it,
yeah,
it was like you need to get that type of advice and encouragement from someone who's been there. And so it really, I mean, like I said, I got home because of you, just keeping it calm and just spitting true game to me of just like, take it one day at a time. And and matter of fact, and I'm not religious, but you prayed with me,
no
and I
question.
really appreciated that.
No question. And it's the when I first got my call, and mind you, I was out partying, I'm out in these streets, and I finally, the headaches were just too excruciating. And I went to the hospital, and the first person I had called, what I mean, I called my ex. I called her, you see what I'm saying? And she prayed with me, you see what I'm saying? Like, because, mind you, and y'all gonna hear my story. That's another. I got somebody. I just locked in somebody to interview me. The two-part
That's
story.
perfect.
So, yeah, I ain't gonna give too much away, but I had to pray. You know what I mean? Because it was the only thing that allowed me to realign the focus to really to on that journey to train to beat what we call cancer. And so now I'm glad that you called, and I'm glad that I was able to, have that ride home with you, because, just imagine if you didn't have that. You see what I'm saying? Like, who knows? We don't even want to talk about that. We're not even gonna claim what that would have been like, but I'm glad that I was able to navigate through that. And so when the doctor called you, what was the stage like? What did they diagnose you with? Like, was it a certain stage, or it just was a little
I was considered T1. So
T1?
like I was like the early stages, which was, I mean, the out of everything that happened, the only bad news I got was that I had cancer.
Yeah.
Everything else was like the best case scenario.
Really?
Which,
Okay.
you know, it was really interesting to like constantly get all this good news that was based off of bad news.
Yeah. And so you got T1, so caught it really early. You know, how was your mom? You know, how and did you tell your daughter immediately, or you know?
No, I didn't. So my mother, of course, was worried, as every mother would
Yeah.
be, because, you know, when you hear cancer, you just think of sickness and death, you
Yeah.
know, like you don't necessarily go into the survivor mode because there's such a journey through the process. And, you know, my aunt, her sister died of cancer.
Mm.
So it was something that she's experienced before.
Yeah.
So it was rough. You know, she tried to put on a brave face for me, which I appreciated. In regards to my kid, I did not tell my kid immediately,
Yeah.
because I just had to get my thoughts together as
Mm-hmm.
far as, you know, what this meant.
Yeah.
And then also, this is kind of off topic, but it is
That's
on
fine.
topic. I'm a
Yeah.
big music festival head.
Oh, I
And
know. I by the way, and I know you about to get in. I'll be jealous. I'll be like, dang, you know what I mean? I need to get on that level. Maybe when all this COVID stuff, we're gonna talk. We're gonna
I'm gonna
talk.
break you in, Diddy. I'm gonna break you
Yeah,
in.
because I know that's the whole experience. But talk to us. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. And so, like I said, I found out that I was diagnosed on April 4th, and I had already had plans to go to Coachella that following weekend. And it's a lot that goes into it, a lot of money, a lot of just
That's an
energy.
experience. I see, like y'all
Yeah,
in the desert, y'all. I see
it's
you with people I would have never imagined you with. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's
it's a beautiful thing. So it was, I looked at it, and it was the year that Beyonce was performing, and I'm not a member of the Beehive, but I respect Sis game, and I knew that she was going to put it down. And so I was like, you know what, let me just take this as an opportunity to escape. I didn't tell only people that knew was my mom and my boss, and that was it, because I didn't want that to be like to bring everybody down, because the energy is so great. And you know, you don't want people to treat you like glass, because when they hear that, they all like, you know, it's like they look at you as if you're dying, and there's nothing worse than having that look and then also feeling it too. So after I came back from Coachella is when I told my kid, and it was really hard, you know, because I started it with I just said, you know, do you know what cancer is? She broke down and, you know, asked the kid questions, you know, am I going to die, or what's going to happen, and all that stuff. And so, you know, just had to fight through it. But that was one of the hardest days.
I'm sure. And I mean, you know, and I mean, my, you know, single mother, you know, and the way you pour into my little Kenny, you see what I'm saying, is amazing because, well, first of all, if you don't have any of her artwork, you're missing out. And don't try to support that later when her paintings are going to be like Basquiat prices. All right, I'm just saying, just hop on, you know, before this way. But like you pour into her. She's like she's been here before. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
She came to the yard and was like, oh, well, I'm here, you know, like. And so I can only imagine, you know, bringing such news, and she's kind of ahead of her time, and she's asking these questions that, you know, like, damn, I got to really break this down, you know, because otherwise, you know, like, you know, you just had to. Like, that's like your next best friend, you know what I mean? Like, y'all road dogs. I see how y'all move.
That's my boo. That's my boo.
Yeah. So, and so when did you have to start treatment, or what was their treatment cycle like? Like, what did they have to do? Since it was caught early, what was the treatment like?
You know, it's one of those things that it truly was like a blip. I was diagnosed on April 4th. They told me, they recommended that I get a double mastectomy. And
so for the people that don't know what that is, what is that?
That's the removal of your breast. Okay. So the breast tissue. And then reconstructive surgery for my breast. And then removed a lymph node from under each armpit to see if the cancer had traveled there.
Wow.
And so they had to like put this dye. It wasn't the iodine, it was something else, to take x-rays to find the lymph nodes so that they didn't take, you know, too many. I think it was just one on each side, and it was the first ones, because some places they just, you know, and I'm really happy I had really good doctors. Thank goodness. But yeah, so they did that, and that surgery was on May 21st, and then on May 27th, my doctor told me that the cancer hadn't spread, and that, you know, I didn't need treatment, I didn't need chemo, I didn't need radiation, which was just like a big because I've seen and heard of what that does. And, you know, I can't help but to think of the vanity part of it too, like, you know, to lose my hair, or, you know, deal with all of that, or feeling sicker to get better. So I was happy that I didn't. So my treatment kind of, you know, ended there. I have to take medicine every day because my cancer was driven by estrogen. So I had too much estrogen. So now I have to like take this medicine called tamoxifen to keep my estrogen down for 10 years. And after 10 years, then I don't know if I have to take something else, but basically if you do it for 10 years, it drastically reduces the chance for the breast cancer to come back.
So thank God they detected it early. You know, they did the surgery, you know, you didn't have to go through radiation and chemo. Now, with this medicine that you have to take for now 10 years, are there side effects to this medicine? You know, like...
Oh, buddy, there.
What are the side effects?
What has been the major side effect, really the only one, is depression. Like, if I'm not active, I could get really deep into my head. And now I have to take something else for the depression, which sucks because it's just like, you know, you take one thing and then because of the side effects, you have to take another thing. And then because of that, you have to take another thing, and it just compounds on each other. But the one plus side is that since it is regulating my estrogen, my skin has gotten a lot smoother.
I see. Are you glowing? She's like, no more, you know what I mean, Maybelline, you know what I mean? Like,
I was born with it.
I was like, oh, okay, got a different glow. So the depression, you know, like, is it a dark space? Like, you know?
Oh yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. I wouldn't wish depression on my worst enemy. It's a dark, lonely space that is really hard to kind of pull yourself out of. And then, especially with everything that's going on right now, it's been really rough. But you know, you gotta get through it. And luckily, I mean, I go to therapy too, just for my mental health as well. But yeah, it's a dark space. It's definitely a dark space.
Well, you know, I'm gonna just pray that, you know, I mean, even though this is necessary for, you know, the next 10 years, and so when you turn 45, you already know we throwing a big party. You know, if I'm West Coast, it don't matter. You know, we're gonna turn up.
We'll be on some yacht somewhere.
Oh, you already know.
Claiming it.
You already know. And so, we talked about the support. We talked about the support your mom. You know, outside of your mom, what was your support network like? You know what I mean? Like,
you know, I knew that I had built a village, but I didn't know I had built a village as strong as I did. My friends came through in such a phenomenal way. They were just aware and thoughtful. Multiple friend groups, they gave me like gift baskets with stuff that I would need while I was recovering from surgery.
Yes, sir.
My Coachella group, and that's a group of like, I would say like 25, maybe 25, 30. they each all put together this basket of like different vitamins and herbs and robes and just things that I would need to help recover. My sorority sisters.
I was just about to get it. I know the AKAs, they, you know what I mean?
Chapter, well, my old chapter, Mu Epsilon Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and corporate.
Yeah, you better say it right.
Yeah, I ain't fooling. Nobody coming for me. My AKAs, they came through and gave me a nice basket of stuff, and my girlfriends did a meal train, and you know, there were a lot of cards and a lot of hugs and a lot of tears and a lot of check-ins, and it really meant a lot to me because I couldn't imagine doing this all by myself. And I'm sure that there are people who are experiencing this by themselves, and my heart goes out to them because it's a heavy time.
No, it's definitely heavy, but I'm glad that you had the circle of love from all walks of life. It wasn't just us from, you know what I mean? You had your Coachella group, different people, different walks, AKA your friends, you know, and you just kind of mentioned it to them, right? You just kind of just said, hey, you know, you got the courage to, after you told obviously your immediate, you finally gauged and told those other individuals. Now, you talked about, did they treat you like that? Whoa, you about to be sick, you know, like you, or did you, like, what was that energy like, you know, once you got the courage to tell the other groups?
Well, you know, most everybody was good. I called face-to-face with my group in LA to tell them.
Yeah.
And everything else was kind of like on the phone. I had a list. I made a list of all of my closest friends, and I called them individually, or I sent them a text letting them know. And sometimes I would just catch little glances or whatnot of just like, is she okay?
Yeah.
I think most of it would come when I would just tell them up front, like, you know, I had cancer. You see that look in their face, and they're like, you know,
Heart
and then
drop.
crying, and then you have to like relive it over and over because, you know, they're now dealing with that news. And so that was intense because it's like, you know, after the 15th time of crying with someone and having to retell the story and whatnot, and then you're still unsure and you know which questions they're going to ask. So, you know, but you know that they're coming from a good place. So, you know, that's something that I had to be mindful of just like, this is because they love me, and this is because they care about me, and that's why they want to know.
And that's awesome. And, you know, like, just like, it's hard, you know, I can definitely say that my first round, I told y'all and things of that nature, but I didn't make a list, you know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things where, like, I let those know who needed to know, even though I got in trouble for it later on, because there was, like, so many people like, yo, why didn't you tell us? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't like me? You don't rock with me? And I wasn't that. I just didn't want those sob stories, right?
Yeah.
You know? I didn't want to feel like, you know, okay, make sure a person's okay. Like, I wanted to be treated.
You don't want to feel like you're dying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the first time, like, my 30th birthday party, and I was in the club, and I told the bartenders, and they knew, I said, you gotta make me 2, you know, carafes of like whatever, just so I can just drink and socialize. And then until they was like, yo, we taking shots, come on, press, you know, woo. I was like, I can't take that. What? You ain't taking shots. And I secretly, like, I'll tell you guys later, right in the club, literally somebody was just like, oh my God, you're gonna die. Oh, and I was just like, I'm not going to die. And it was, that just kind of made me a little hesitant, you know, to really tell the world, you know. But, you know, I'm glad that you made a list, you know, and I think that's important, that for those survivors that are listening, or those patients that, you know, may hear this, is that it's okay to make a list, you know, of the people that you are comfortable telling the story to, because those people care, you know what I mean? And And just like for you, Bianca, like they showed out, and in that space, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's wonderful. Now, after the surgery, how long did it take for healing?
I was out of work for 6 weeks.
Ooh,
and yeah,
okay.
it was I had to take whole baths for 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know what a whole bath is?
No, I don't. So I was about to say, talk to us. What is that?
You know, when you gotta run real quick, so you just like, you wash here and wash here, you
The
wash
bird bath. Get the quick bird bath. Yeah,
bird
okay.
bath. He
Gotcha.
called it whole bath.
Nice
But
term. The bird.
I had to do that for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because I had these drains that were
Okay.
right here, and there were.
Did it freak you out?
Yeah, it was weird. I just felt like a science experiment because the
Yeah.
drains were like to collect the liquids or whatnot. And then I
Right.
had to empty the drains, and it was just really gross and depressing because it's just like, oh gosh. And then everything hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was down for about 6 weeks, and then I had to do like kind of in between surgeries to fix stuff or replace, because they had to put these things called expanders in.
Okay.
Which basically, so they removed the breast tissue and they put in the expanders, and the expanders basically kind of stretch out the skin so that when they put in the implants, it would just go in normally.
Okay.
But the expanders were so hard. So like, I didn't like hugging people because when I hugged them, I knew that they could feel it. And one time my homegirl, her son, it was the first time I had like just gotten out. It's from being at home recovering. And so he was happy to see me, and he ran up to me and he ran and gave me a hug, and his head hit my expanders and it like knocked him. And he was like, what the hell?
He's like, yo, is she a superhero? What's
seriously,
going on?
I could knock on them. They were so hard. Wow. I would be bored and knock on them. So that was, you know me, I'm a fool.
Yeah, right.
That was inconvenient, but I was happy to get those out when they switched them out for the implant. So I had to take time off to heal from that. I think that was like a week or two.
So that's crazy. Crazy. You got things inside your body. I mean, I guess it's like a whole makeover. And what was your confidence level, because now you have reconstructed, like, did it go down? Like, did you have to build yourself back up? Like,
it's mixed. I miss.
Because I mean, you a G. You like a, what I mean, you a GG.
You can't help but to feel some kind of way. I miss my girls, but I don't need a bra anymore, which is great. And it's really funny because I was joking with my friend and I told him that I wanted to get breast implants. This was before all this happened. And so I'm like, well, I got them. I didn't get them the way I thought I would, but I got them. So, I'm trying to find there is a silver lining in there, but I definitely, I had, I was nervous a few times, not gonna tell all my business, but it ended up not being a problem.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's too up close. We're giving y'all the up close, but y'all, that's too much for y'all. That's a certain access level that it has not been approved for this show.
We'll talk later.
We'll talk. That's an offline topic. That's fine. And so, I think, one thing that I was just talking to somebody yesterday, because everybody always asks me, like, how's your health? I didn't eat so well when I was in chemo, right? And I was just eating. Did you have, but I should be eating better, fine. I mean, I'm trying to be a vegan sometimes, I go to those farewells. There's a spot called Farewell in DC. Thank God it's still open. Everything's shutting down because of this COVID, man. It's, they shut down. That's another story. But, did you have to change your diet? I mean, because eating is everything, right? Did you have to change your diet with, the treatment and everything like that? Or
I did because since my cancer was estrogen, I have to be mindful of foods that are high in estrogen.
Okay.
So
What foods are high in estrogen?
Soy is one.
Okay.
Like soy is a big one. I have a whole list of them. I can't
Yeah.
remember them all right now, but it
No
was
worries.
like a lot of the foods that I love are really high in
So
estrogen.
what's one you're like, damn?
Well, shit, excuse me. Soy was one. Like I really, I was trying to get into being a vegetarian
Yeah.
or vegan.
Vegan, yeah. Yeah.
And when I realized I couldn't have that, I was like, oh, well, okay. I mean, I still can do it. But right now, I did change my diet. I'm a pescatarian.
Okay.
I mean, I know that I could eat better. I am eating better.
Yeah.
And I could do better than that. But mainly, I'm trying to stay low on the foods that are on that list and eat more. Like one that isn't high in estrogen are melons, and I love watermelon and cantaloupe. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I can have
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, that's what's up. I mean, because eating, like, I mean, I ate Jamaican food. So when I was going through chemo, they're like, why you eat Jamaican food? That's what that was my ish, you know. It was the only thing because a little bit different going through treatment with lymphoma, you lose that chemo, you lose your sense of taste. And, you know, you got to think about like, dang, what does a Cinnabon taste like? Or, you know, but Jamaican food was the best thing that I could at least get some type of kick and flavor where even though I couldn't taste it mostly, like only could taste like 25% of it, but, you know, it gave me that feel. So I can only imagine you got a goal of, yo, I'm trying to eat right. You know, I'm trying to be vegan. And the main thing that's in most of all these things, you can't even indulge. And so, but I'm sure your pescatarian is not bad. You know what I mean? Seafood, get your salmon
Oh
on,
no,
shrimp.
it's my happy medium.
Okay.
Yep, it's my happy medium.
So did going through this, and I know you got Black Like Vanilla, was that something to keep your mind distracted? You know what I mean? Or did it allow you to escape, to not think about it sometimes? Or do you relapse and think about these moments, you know what I mean, when you were going through it?
Yeah, so I don't know if I use Black Like Vanilla as a distraction.
Okay.
I really just kind of took the time off,
Yeah.
like I checked out a little bit. A lot of times I forget that I've had cancer because I've like pushed it way back in my head. And then I reflect on it, and then, I could break down. Like when you guys had reached out to me about this, it was actually on my anniversary of when I think it was the anniversary of my surgery, or when I found out. It was one of those. It was one of the two. And I just thought about it. I was like, oh, okay. And then later that night, I just bawled, and just thinking about all that I had gone through. And yeah, it was the surgery, and just thinking about that day and that night and how scared I was, and all of that stuff. So sometimes it does pop up in my head, and then I'll get way in my feelings, and I realize it's something I still have to work through, but not often, because I'm just one that I don't really like emotions like that. I don't like to feel weak. And that was one of those situations.
You are a woman, though. You know that, right? You know, it's okay to shed a tear. I mean, I know you try to be.
You gotta cry too. You gotta cry too. But
T'Challa, you know what I mean?
I didn't. It's very far and few between that I do. But when I do, I completely, like tonight, I may have a moment. Like I'm okay right now, but it's just like small triggers, and I don't want to trigger in a bad way, but it's just little things that trigger it. Just go, oh shit, I did have cancer, I did go through this. And I think that sometimes, because I hate saying it like this, but I didn't have the full cancer
Yeah.
experience in that I didn't have like the treatment.
Yeah.
Makes it easier for me to put it out my head, because it's like, did that really happen? And then I feel my breast like, yep, it
Right.
did.
And you know, cancer comes in all shapes and forms, right? You know what I mean? Like you may not have to go through the chemo and, you know, the radiation and the surgeries and the PT. However, you know, during that time in your life, it just hits you. You know what I mean? Like in a way that is unexpected. And I don't even know if I asked you, does it run in your family? Any
No,
see?
like I think it was environmental, which is
Yeah.
why I'm trying to be mindful of what I put into my body,
Yeah.
because if it's based off of estrogen, and they did all of the testing, every single type of testing, genetic testing they could do, and there was nothing in my, like, it wasn't genetic.
Yeah. So like and that's the scary part about like this 6-letter word, you know what I mean? Like you may not even have any, you know, genetics, you know what I mean, that run in your family, you know, I hope I said that right. But you may not have those genes, and then all of a sudden what you put in your body, you know, you could have, well, at least for me, I could have been in a wrong space where the environment itself could have triggered those things. Because even with like lymphoma, which is very scary, they don't even, there's some things it just comes out of nowhere, which is like, that's crazy. I look down, I got a lump on my neck. What? That's, you know, like that's insane. But thank God, you see what I'm saying, that what you caught it early. Now, has your faith changed? You see what I'm saying, because of all this, or you know?
No, no, it hasn't. But I think that my view on life has changed.
Yeah. Talk about that. So what is that? What is it like now? Because that's the money question. Now that you've gone through this, you're going through your treatment. What's your outlook on life now?
You know, there's nothing that can awake you more than meeting your own mortality. And in that, I've realized that I just need to do it. You know, if there's something that I want to do, I need to do it, because I remember what that feeling was like in thinking that I wouldn't be here, or like I couldn't see my kid grow up, or I couldn't hang out with my friends anymore. I just wouldn't exist, you know, like that life would end for me. So I'm definitely about seizing the moment and just taking opportunities as they arrive, or making them for myself too. And also being more true to myself. Like, you know, I already lack a filter, but in experiencing this, I'm very more straightforward in what I will allow, what I want, what I will accept. And, you know, I'm happy that I'm in that space, because it allowed me to value me more.
Self-care. And it made me smile when you said those things, because like, you know, going through this journey, regardless of treatment cycles, whatever, it just changes your mindset, right? It's like, I got to make sure I live for the moment. I take any opportunity to do it, because life is not promised, you know, like even with surgeries, those can go wrong. You know what I mean? Even in recovery, you know what I mean? The little boy that, you know what I mean, got a surprise, you know, that could have caused something else, you know what I mean? And so we take life for granted, you know? Rest in peace. I mean, you've probably seen Tommy. Yeah, you know, and life is sometimes it's short, you know? And so I'm glad that, you know, you do have that outlook, you know what I mean? Because you're going to go to Coachella, you know what I mean? You're going to write dope posts. You're going to protest. I saw you protest with your daughter. Amazing. I wouldn't expect nothing less. You see what I'm saying? Like, which was yep. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna hit you on, because I want that piece. I know she drew that. I know she did that. I need that framed. I need it framed. And so like I ask every guest on the show, you know, Positive Deposits, you know, our nonprofit, you know, is transforming minds to change lives. So I want you to come up with, if you can, 3 positive deposits that you can give someone that maybe be a breast cancer survivor, breast cancer recently diagnosed, or just survivors, because survivorship is real. what are maybe 3 positive deposits that you can you know, shed light to people that are hearing about breast cancer, or, you know, maybe, you know, shocked by finding out?
The first one I would say in regards to women, that is, especially Black women,
Yes.
to get mammograms early and check yourself.
Yeah.
Because even though they say that you should wait until you're 40, I was 35, and
Yep.
I know other women who were in their 30s too, and some in their late 20s. So to get to know your girls, because
Yep.
you know, you want them to stay with you, then you need to know what's going on with them. My second one would be to do whatever you have to do in order to maintain your sanity throughout the process, whether it be, you know, once you find out, or once you're in treatment, or even after treatment. You have to do whatever is necessary in order for you to be in a good headspace, because it's a lot, it's heavy, and you have to just be prepared for that. And then my last one would be to stay true to you, you know, stay true to who it is that you are, and don't be defined by your diagnosis, and even being defined as, you know, a survivor in that too, you know, like it's that's a heavy word as well. But just be you, you know, and if you choose to be defined by that, then that's fine, you know, that's great. But you are still a person, you are still life, you know, and don't let that one thing hold you back from the rest of your life.
Yeah, that was beautiful, man. And I like when you said, you know, even the word survivor, like that can come like a stigma, like, oh, you know, but, you know, you heard it from her. She said, check your tatas, check the girls, make sure you do that, you know, keep your sanity, you know what I mean? Whatever you need to do, right? Whatever it is, make sure that mental health is in check. But then also to be true to yourself. And I totally agree with all those. And I appreciate those positive deposits. And so, you know, I thank you so much, you know, for being on the show. You know, where can we, you know, find you? You know, Bianca, where can people find you? You know, I know you got some dope stuff going on. Like where
Yeah, mainly blacklikevanilla.com.
Yep.
On or Black Like Vanilla on Instagram or on Facebook. And I just wanted to know, like, you know, I'm very private about my business, but this is something that I felt important to share, and I'm happy that you created a platform for people like us to be able to share our stories, because hopefully someone can prevent this from happening to them by hearing from us. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
No problem, man. It's been my pleasure as not only your brother, friend, but, you know, as a fellow survivor, a dope survivor is that, you know what I mean? Because it's necessary, you know. I not to circle back, but like when I look at some of these cancer sites, right? Like, and that's a whole nother story. I just did a whole little discussion about the Black Lives Matter with another cancer survivor here, no there. I just noticed that when you see people of color, they'll put a story to promote something, you know, or it's like they work there. Like, so what if they didn't work there? You know what I mean? Like, would we be able to hear our stories? And that's why one of the center of Positive Deposits is the courageous conversation. So I commend you and I appreciate, you know, when I know you support me, but I know it took a lot of courage, you know what I mean, to do this, but this is what we do as survivors to build that hope and inspiration. And so, you know, like I said, you could catch this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. We could definitely, you can catch that. And as far as Positive Deposits, if you go to our website, it is positivedeposits.org. You can donate and to support not only the great programs we have for cancer survivors, but also too for cancer research. And we have actually something coming up with where we have where we're going to support a Black physicist who is actually going to be putting a lot of work into cancer research. So we're buying Black, we supporting Black, but at least we know that it's going to that space rather than a big company, and we don't know what the hell they're doing. So Bianca, I appreciate you so much for coming on the show, and Bison all day, Gan fam all day, you know what I mean? And,
all day.
And until next time.
All right, thank you.